Hi again then guys, and welcome to another high-end speed build for Forza Horizon 3, and this time we're going for a car which I just picked up from the Forzathon discount, the Shelby Cobra. Got it for about 1.4 million instead of whatever it was, 2.1, something like that. It's a car which I've always loved, and it's a very fast one. It's one of those vehicles which you could safely assume would probably have the V12 engine option, and with that engine would probably be quite quick, to say the least. And it is. It's fast, it's powerful, it's lightweight. You're looking at around 1500 horsepower per ton, which is quite insane for a car like this. Now, as far as the engine, as I mentioned, I would recommend that 1500 horsepower V12 whenever it's an option, not because I like that engine the most. It can get boring fitting that engine over and over again, but this is purely because it gives you the best power to work with, so it's just a means to an end. As far as the drivetrain, I would of course recommend all-wheel drive to get all of that power and torque down the most efficiently, but you could give it a go with rear-wheel drive if you wanted to. For aspiration, of course you want the twin turbo to get the peak power out of it. For stuff like the wings, the rims, that's down to you. And then for the rest, you pretty much already know the drill. Fit everything to the car that improves it, all of the racing parts, generally speaking, brakes, suspension, weight loss, diff, all of that kind of good stuff. I would recommend having the anti-roll on this car, the roll cage. It doesn't change the visuals though, which is interesting because of course you already have the roll bar. Now as far as the benchmark, you're looking at 1.8 technically to 60, 3.7 to 100, and 270 flat out. Now of course we'll test it in just a second to see how quick it can actually go, but if you do want to get this tuned straight on your car, you can find it on my storefront. So just use the keywords down in the video description to do so, or of course you could just follow this video and do it yourself. Now as far as the gearbox, I'd recommend a final drive of 3.2, then individual gears which are pretty similar to those who have used my tunes before, 2.9, 2, 1.5, 1.18, 0.94 and 0.75. As far as alignment, we've got neutral camber, neutral toe. I've gone for the highest caster angle to keep that handling in check. Anti-roll I've increased to 35 and 25, springs on 155, 145 and the lowest possible ride height. Dampers we've got on 15 and 7, aero doesn't apply, at least without the wings, and incidentally I do actually really like the look of the front chin splitter on the Cobra. I do think it looks pretty good. And as far as the diff, we've got 100% on acceleration, 0 on the deceleration side of things, and a 70% split. Now with that 70% split, even with 30% going to the front end, it can still drift. Very much so. So if you want it to be just dead straight on, you could go for say 65 or 60 or even down to 50 if you wanted to, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it's not all that necessary. So all that remains of course is to actually take it out on the street to see what it can do. Overall then, the Cobra is one of the fastest classics easily in the game. When you put it up against most other classic sports cars or just classic cars in general like muscle cars, it is one of the quickest. Now you probably assume that it would be, but whether or not it's worth buying, that's a whole different question, because of course it is one of the most expensive classics in the game. So I think that side of things is more down to personal preference as to whether you think it will be worth that, because the Cobra doesn't really offer anything that you wouldn't expect from it. It's extremely fast in a straight line, a little bit slippery, but not really that difficult to drive. So if that appeals to you, then I would say it is worthwhile getting it because of how fast it is. However, is it the absolute fastest of classics? Well, no, it's no Jag D-Type, that's for sure. However, I love the Cobra, I'm very happy that I bought the car, and the tune certainly works very well with it. So if you decide to use this tune and enjoy it, of course there are literally hundreds more Forza tunes, which I've done right here on the channel that you can see by clicking through to the full list at the end of this video. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.